Hello and welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. I'd like to wish you a happy Tuesday. It is How to Tarot Tuesday, and I just wanted to start off with just a few very brief announcements. What is happening is, if you are a follower of my channel, you've probably seen in the last few days a few posts that are not related to tarot. I am doing a very short series of videos under they're being posted under the playlist Eco Girl in a Modern World. And what it is that it is just a short stint of videos in honor of Earth Day. You know, recycling and other environmental causes is something else that I'm very passionate about, and I wanted to go ahead and do just a short stint of videos leading up to Earth Day. So if you see posts for videos related to that series, you do not have to click on them. If you prefer to stick to the tarot and Oracle is going to be the majority of content on my channel. So if you see you know, videos that look like it's different content under that title, Eco Girl in a Modern World, you do not have to click on it unless you want to watch it. It is just a side thing that I'm doing just until April, and but you know, the majority of my content will always be this. And I will continue to post as normal. Tuesdays is How to Tarot Tuesdays. Saturdays will be the weekly energy card reading, and then I will always have special reads in between. So that said, I want to thank you for joining me today. Today is actually a very special day because last Tuesday we actually completed the Major Arcana. We talked about the world. So today I decided, you know, in tarot it's a 78 card series, that there are 4 suits in the major, in the Minor Arcana. So there's really no order to the Minor Arcana. There's not like a strict, you know, you have to do cups first or you have to do swords first. So as we completed the majors, I decided to go ahead and start with wands. My reasoning for that is a little bit of astrology based. In astrology, the first technical sign of the zodiac is Aries, and then Taurus, and then Gemini and Cancer. So it goes fire, earth, air, water. So I decided to go ahead and follow suit and do it that way. So today, as we start the Minor Arcana, I'm going to go ahead and start with the Ace of Wands. And for those who are new to my channel, what I do with the How to Tarot is every Tuesday I pick one card from the 78 card tarot, and we go in order. And what we do is, the beginning of the video is always a brief discussion about the card, about the meaning. And I do pick 3 different tarot decks. I pick the decks that I think have the best representation of the card that we're talking about. And then after we go through the discussion, after we talk about the symbols of the card, then I will freeze frame the video and let you choose a deck. And I will go ahead and do a card reading to see how that card manifests in your life currently. So again, today is the Ace of Wands. It's a very exciting card. And if you ever want to skip ahead, if you want to skip the discussion of the description of the card, the timestamps are in the description box below, so feel free to jump ahead. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and get started. Now, the first deck that I always pick for the How to Tarot is the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. And the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith has the Ace of Wands as a wand being held by a glowing hand that's coming out of a cloud. The wand is prosperous because it has leaves, it's flowering, and it seems to be raining leaves. And the background looks very green and inviting. In the distance, there's a mountain and what looks like a castle on top of the mountain, right? And then there's a river with trees. And basically, the Ace of Wands it's just as all aces, it's a beginning. It's a very strong beginning. And wands represent spirit and they represent action. They represent vitality and energy and excitement. So with all of that in mind, you know, and with the glowing hand, you know, coming out of the sky, the Ace of Wands really means a strong new beginning. Almost like being that race car that's at the starting line that got that jump start, right? The Ace of Wands is about, you know, creative force. It's about, you know, really, you know, kind of honoring your inner potential and jumping forward in a really, really strong way. It's about, you know, again, it being energy and spirit. You know, the one thing about wands that's different, you know, with the cups really represent a lot of emotion, but wands represent spirit. When you think about freedom, when you think about energy, vitality, you know, you think spirit, someone's fighting spirit, right? And that's what the wands represent. So a lot of times, you know, when you see the Ace of Wands in a reading, it usually means about conceiving new possibilities. I tend to see the Ace of Wands. Have you ever had it when you have that moment where you just have this feeling like something new is beginning, right? You know, something really neat and exciting. You know, maybe I know it sounds like a silly comparison, but have you ever found that TV show and you watch the first episode and you're the biggest fan, right? You just get so engrossed and you have to binge watch. It becomes your favorite thing ever. Either that or the first time that you discover a new hobby, right? You try something out and you're like, ooh, I like this, right? Ooh. And that is the Ace of Wands energy. It's about having a really, really strong start to something. It can also be the conception of something. It can be about conceiving, like having a dream, right? Having a dream, something in your mind that you want to take action about. Now, the second deck I went with the Anna K Tarot. And it's funny, with most of the How to Tarots, I usually have to kind of debate which cards I'm going to pick. But for this draw, I knew exactly the wands. I knew all three cards I wanted, and the image of this card popped into my mind like several days ago when I was thinking, okay, what cards am I going to pull for the Ace of Wands? This card popped into mind because it's that energy. You see, the wand you get the same mountains in the background, and you have that wand, you know, going, and she's almost playing with the idea, right? She could fall, right? It doesn't look like it looks like a pretty long drop, right? But she's unaware. She's like, bring on the challenge, right? Bring on the challenge. Let me try this. You know, so in that sense, it's kind of following your imagination, and in that also sense, it's feeling really eager. It's like feeling jazzed. It's like, oh, you know, ready to go. Sometimes if you have a project that you really want to do, whether that's painting your bathroom or, you know, it's that eagerness. I always think when you're like, sometimes when you have some exciting event coming up on the weekend, or maybe it's coming close to your birthday and you just know, okay, this weekend I get to do this. That's the kind of Ace of Wands energy. You're getting really stoked. It can also mean giving 110%. It really means kind of like going off like a rocket, you know? It's like in the third deck I went with the Vice Versa Tarot. And you see the same thing. You see a hand, and it almost looks like a warrior's hand, right? Very strong, and he's holding up that wand. And again, the wand is always flowering. And in the background, you see lightning striking a tree, right? And you know how we talk about, in this series, I've talked about how lightning is usually epiphanies. It's a stroke of genius, right? And the fact that it's striking, even though it looks like kind of a fearsome scene, it's igniting something. There we go. That's the word, igniting. You're ignited. And in this card, I really like the fact that it almost seems like you got an idea. You know, it's like, boom, got an idea, and it ignited your passion, and you held up the wand and you're like, let's go do this, right? Let's go do this. Now, the thing that I love about the background of the original Rider-Waite is the fact that you've got kind of this meandering river, and you do have mountains in the distance, but it's such a peaceful scene. It's still like, sure, you know, this beginning could lead you on a journey, right? And it also means that. It means starting a journey, right? It's the beginning. And then, you know, but it's still, the whole scene of it, the whole plateau just looks so encouraging, right? It's like a happy beginning. It's not one of those beginnings that you dread doing, or, you know, came after the end of a long time. Or sometimes it can, if you see the Ace of Wands like next to a card like maybe the, you know, the Ten of Swords or something like that. It actually helps to lighten up a lot of those cards too, if you see the Ace of Wands upright next to, you know, kind of a more gloomy card. A lot of times it does mean believing in yourself and your abilities. It can mean having really great self-esteem, which you see there with the girl on the, you know, playing chicken there. It can mean having a lot of courage. It definitely means trying something new, trying something different, right? A lot of times I also like the lightning strike, because that usually lightning usually means Aquarius or Uranus, and that is definitely different. It's new, different. Let's try this. And there's a speed to it too. Everything feels very fast moving, right? You know, when you look at the leaves here, it looks like the leaves are blowing in the wind, like the wind is blowing you in the direction, right? And with this girl, you see the birds just circling around. You know, there's action in the card. Even though it seems a little stationary, you know, there's a lot of action there. So it can also mean, again, with the mountains and the journey, it can mean taking on a risk, but it can also mean standing true to your beliefs. Again, it kind of runs into the spirit aspect of the wands, where, you know, you really are, you're being, you know, a lot of times it can also mean that you might be being an inspiration to someone. Like if you saw this next to like the Three of Pentacles, it can mean that maybe someone's following your lead, you know, with the way that you're holding up that staff, like, let's go, you know. It kind of reminds me of what, that movie Braveheart, you know, freedom, you know, follow me, follow me. Now, just to get into the more adult kind of meanings, because, and again, this video is made for over 18. I keep it pretty clean on the average, but the other thing about the wand is that all of the wands, and especially when there's one singular, it's a very masculine symbol and it's a very phallic symbol. So, and a lot of times, you know, depending on where you see it in conjunction with other cards, it definitely means conception. It means being aroused. It means sexual desire. It means really kind of theming for someone, right? If you see this next to, you know, a card like the Devil, you know, you could be, you know, it could mean that you feel addicted to someone, that someone always makes you feel like that, right? You know, you read between the lines. But it definitely usually means that it is definitely usually an exciting new opportunity too. So again, if you see this next to a Pentacle card, or it's that exciting moment when you can put your energy towards something that you really want to. But, you know, in that same vein, it can also mean the conception, like maybe you found out that you were just about to become a parent or something like that, if you see this next to like the Empress. So it definitely has that kind of connotation. It's the first of the 10. So therefore it is the birth, it's the new. Now, whenever it means a person or, you know, a situation, it usually means kind of starting an enterprise. Again, it's kind of beginning something brand new. It can be, you know, something exciting that you think will flower. You know, it can be starting a business, it can be starting a hobby, it can be starting a project. It definitely means a time of initiation. It definitely means action. You know, while the other suits usually mean emotion and thought, Wands is about doing things in in, you know, taking physical and, you know, other action to get this endeavor started. Now, it is also a time of great creativity. You know, with the wands, you know, if you think of the Queen of Wands, the King of Wands, they are very warm and creative people. And it just also means that, you know, you are going to be very enthusiastic about what you do. And in that vein, when you see the Ace of Wands and you're asking about a person, the wands usually mean someone who's an entrepreneur, maybe an inventor. And again, that lightning bolt, you know, they're inventors, they're adventurers. It can also mean a warrior, someone who fights for what they want. And, you know, but usually it's trailblazers. You know, I get a very strong Aries energy, you know, off this card. Now, anytime you see the Ace of Wands in reverse, again, anytime something's upside down or in the reverse, it means that something is blocked or thwarted or having a negative manifestation. So a lot of times it means that you started something with great enthusiasm and then it fizzled out. Either that or, you know, it does usually mean false starts, but sometimes it can mean that something was not what you thought it was going to be. If you saw this card upside down next to maybe the Five of Swords, maybe you felt like, you know, something that you thought was going to be a wonderful endeavor turned out, you know, to be the complete opposite of what you expected. The upside down card can also mean, you know, delays and difficulties. It can mean misdirected force, like, you know, like something that's going in the wrong direction. You know, when you've got something happening and it seems like it's, you know, also you can think of it like something blowing up in your face, right? You know, you had this great, you know, I almost think of that, I'm envisioning that scene, you know, when scientists test things out and it doesn't go the right way and it ends up as a puff of smoke and their face is purple and it's like, okay, that didn't turn out right. You know, that's kind of like the reversed Ace of Wands. Now, a lot of times it can mean things like poor planning, like maybe you put so much enthusiasm into something, but maybe you didn't exactly think it out completely. You know, the other thing is it can mean powerlessness. Maybe you have a lot of energy to give, but you feel thwarted, you feel trapped. Definitely if you see this next to like the Eight of Swords or something, you know, sometimes you can be holding in your power or holding it down. You know, you can be telling yourself, you know, like if you see this next to the Nine of Swords, you can be drowning yourself in negative thought, thinking, okay, I can't do that, that's not possible. You know, so you can also read it as being the overexertion of power, like maybe you're being too demanding, maybe you're being a little bit of a tyrant, you know, if you see this next to something like the Emperor. And, you know, last but not least, you know, just like we said, you know, when we're talking about, you know, sexual desire, in that sense, it can mean sometimes the wands, Ace of Wands reverse can mean, it can mean sexual dysfunction. It can mean impotence. Sometimes it can mean, not to be blunt, but it could be cock blocking. You know, maybe if you see the wand upside down next to, in between two people, you know, or if you have three people in the spread, and you know, somebody can be blocking you from, you know, what you want. A lot of times it can be a lack of ideas or a lack of inspiration, or just feeling like you're having a lot of ideas but none of them are really going anywhere or getting off the ground. And last but not least, sometimes if this is next to a little bit, you know, like either the Magician in the reverse or other cards that mean kind of deception, sometimes the wands in reverse can mean that someone's promising you a lot, but they have no intention of delivering. Either that, or it could be that this person's temperament is that way. You know, they get excited about things. They get all revved up, but then, you know, it just doesn't have, you know, the wherewithal to manifest. And, you know, so that can be one last definition. Now, you know, again, it can be failed ventures if it's around pentacles. Sometimes it can be investments that, you know, didn't you know, work out the way that you wanted. But, you know, last but not least, it can just mean feeling very frustrated, you know, wanting things to go the way that you want to go, wanting to accomplish your goals, but seeing that that's not happening. But, you know, anyway, you know, this is, you know, it's a really, really exciting card. You know, a lot of cards, you know, sometimes when you read them in reverse, you still think that, you know, that they're all that negative. But even in the reverse, the Ace of Wands is still a really exciting card. I always look forward to you know, seeing it in a read, because it gives me inspiration, right? It gives me hope. So I'll go ahead, and so that was our description. As we go through the minors, the How to Tarot videos are probably going to get a little bit shorter. You know, the major arcanas were the heavy hitters, and not that the minors are not, but, you know, it just, the imagery is, it's simple, but it's poignant. It gets the point across. So I'll go ahead and I'll let you choose your deck. The first deck is the Rider-Waite-Smith, the second with Sunstone. The second deck is the Annika Tarot, and this is a smoky quartz. And the third deck is the Vice Versa Tarot, and I have with it one of my favorite stones. This is actually a piece of petrified wood, and it's so smooth, it's so cool. But anyway, I'll stop gushing and I'll let you choose. And please pause the video if you need more time, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll start with the first deck. Let's see, how does the Ace of Wands manifest in your life? I don't know if you guys can hear the rain in the background. It's this lovely, oh, it's such a lovely lulling sound. It was very warm this evening. It was like it was cold this morning, but 60 degrees coming home, I know, which is strange for February, but I really enjoyed it. I just listened to the rain, and it was so temperate. I wish I could sit outside and just, I don't know, drink a hot cup of tea and look at the stars or something. See, I must be channeling this Ace of Wands. Isn't that like such a thing to imagine? Okay, so deck number one, Ace of Wands. How is the Ace of Wands manifesting in your life right now? So deck number one. Ooh. Oh, I'm seeing me some King of Wands. Wow, guys. Okay, how is the Ace of Wands manifesting? I'm going to go with the top card. Well, there's 4 there. I'm not trying to take a million cards, but we'll go ahead. Oh, wow, you guys got a full spread. All right. Okay, so sorry to jostle the mic. I know that makes a booming sound, so I try not to do that in your ear. My gosh, guys. Well, these cards are very well shuffled, and you got 3 major arcana in here, so you kind of have some major Ace of Wands energy going on here, guys. In the past, I'm definitely getting a vibe as if you were very impulsive in the past. You were the King of Wands, and the King of Wands is the person who wields that rod, right? You can see that it almost looks like this is the new rod when it's kind of young, and then by the time, you know, the King of Wands is a very dynamic character. He's a very warm character. He's also very creative, and he's outgoing. He knows what he wants, right? So he's the mature manifestation of the king. But in the past, what it was is that you had all this energy, but you didn't know how to direct it. You had a lot of fear. You had, what it is that when you have all that force behind you, even though it's creative, even though it's warm, and it's, you know, you even though you know how to lead, you had a lot of and again, you can be a woman watching this reading and come out as the King of Wands, so gender does not matter. But in the past, I think you definitely had all this energy, but you weren't sure how to wield it. Like you are a mature person, and it isn't that you don't know your own emotions. You know your own emotions, but I just really get a feeling that the reason that you are the King of Wands is because you've had a lot of experiences in your life that have forced you to kind of be how you are. And you know, if you've ever had those moments or those times in life when it isn't so much that you're questioning yourself, it's just that you have this certain kind of drive in your soul, in your spirit, right? We talked about spirit. And you just feel kind of dazed and confused. You feel lost, right? You're like, why do I feel this way? Where do I go? Where do I apply all this energy, right? You know, sometimes you just feel a little misdirected. And the other thing is that the wand suit, especially the Queen of Wands, she's ruled by the sun. So the King of Wands, when you look at his crown, he has like beams of sunlight, like it looks like flames, right? And he's got lions and salamanders. He's got a salamander at his feet. I always think that's the cutest thing, the little salamander there. But he's a direct guy, you know, he takes direct action. You know, feeling murky and confused and having churning emotions is not, it cramps his style. That's not his style. But I feel like in the past, you've had to really kind of, the other thing about the moon, and we had a tarot on the moon not too long ago, if you ever get a chance to watch that video, we talked about how the crustacean in the water, he cleanses the water. And I do think that possibly in the past, maybe, you know, again, the king is very mature. He's not reckless, but he is passionate, though. I think in the past, you probably lived the lifestyle that you wanted, but it might have felt like something was missing or like you were wanting for something and you couldn't figure out what that was, right? You have all this drive, and the vibe that I'm getting is that you have all this drive to get what you want, but a lot of times you didn't know what you wanted. Either that or you felt like you'd go after what you want and then you get it and then it just wouldn't satisfy you. Now, what you're doing now, where you are currently, and it's directly under the wands, is you got the Seven of Pentacles, you got the Queen of Swords, you got Death and the Lovers. So definitely, guys, I'm kind of reading this one of two ways. It could be that maybe in the past you wanted a little bit more freedom, and again, that's another thing with the King of Wands. He's a very loyal character, but he's honest about what he wants. If he doesn't, you know, he doesn't do anything he doesn't want to do, right? So one of two ways. It could either be that in the past you really were kind of roaming around, and again, you can be a woman watching this. You might have been dating like a man a little bit, you know what I mean? Like doing what you want to do, not caring about, you know, commitment or anything like that. But you were still feeling a little bit empty inside. You were still not understanding why you weren't fulfilled. Now, you could have met someone, because this is a king and a queen and they're facing opposite directions. So they're, you know, this is the past and this is the present. But, you know, it could have been that maybe you did cross paths with somebody that you might consider to, you know, to help you, but you were still feeling very confused. You still had things that you needed to work out in your own life. Now, the other way that I can, and so what you were doing is presently you're feeling better, like you've found a little bit more clarity, because the other thing is with the Ace of Wands coming after the moon, it means that you're coming out of that, right? You're coming past, it's almost like you got you walked past the towers, went over the mountains, and got to the other side, right? You've finally gotten some clarity amongst all of this murkiness that you were feeling. But what's happening currently is that you do have restored energy. You're feeling, again, you're feeling excited too. You feel like you have this start. But the thing is, underneath it, you're still evaluating your options, right? You're evaluating situations. The other thing is that you could be evaluating your finances a lot too, because the thing about this is that I really get a feeling as if in the past you had a lot of emotional things going on, and now you are looking at it in a practical way. That's another thing. Now that I think the clouds are really starting, I think the murkiness is really starting to clear up, right? That's the other thing, is that, you know, the epiphany, the coming out of it, right? You're waking up. But you are seeing things in a very realistic light. You might be seeing actions that you took in a realistic light. You know, and what you're doing is you're saying, okay, and again, this is the King of Wands. He knows what he wants, right? He gets what he wants. I think you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, I'm not going to be, you know, in this moon energy anymore. So I am getting a strong vibe. It could be a couple, because I am reading for a lot of people, but I honestly think that the Queen of Swords might be you too. What it is you're turning your back on this energy. You're switching your perception, right? You're flipping your perception. You no longer want to be murky, so you're looking at things very analytically. You're looking at things in a very factual way, because that helps you keep a clear head, right? It keeps you out of that murky moon energy. The other thing I see is that you're really putting up boundaries. You are mentally saying, and the thing about the queens is that queens are nurturers, right? They're the feminine. So, and you know, both men and women have a masculine and feminine. It's the yin and yang. So I think after, you know, having a time of just kind of feeling like you have all this energy and you don't know how to direct it, and you don't know how you feel, and you're finally analyzing everything in your life, and you're putting up strong boundaries. If there's anything that made you feel bad in the past, you're not tolerating it anymore. And the thing that you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to go through a transformation. You're currently going through a transformation, right? And I do think that if this does involve another person, like maybe there was a person in the mix, it might be someone that you have to keep these boundaries with. I really do think I'm getting a sense of divine guidance from this, because I'm really focusing on the angel in the lovers. And the lovers can be a relationship, but usually it can also mean a choice, right? So the choice can be between staying in this energy, you know, and again, the King of Wands, bachelor energy, you know, bachelorette energy. So you're kind of choosing between that and choosing what you want to do next. And I think right now, again, you have the Ace of Wands fueling this. You are ready to go. You're ready to go. You're looking at things in a new perspective. You're keeping healthy boundaries. You're looking at things very analytically, you know, no more murk. And you are transforming. You're transforming. And I think after this transformation, and again, the sun is rising here, right? You know, it can be rising or setting, but you see how the sun is coming up between those two towers, and you see that's the same towers that are in the moon. You know, you're coming out of your moon phase, and you're going to be making some important decisions. You're going to be making some very important decisions. And these decisions are going to be determining your happiness. And but the Ace of Wands being right above all this, you are green lighting this right now. Like right now, and you have some this is major, guys. Major. So you've got you are in the midst of a lot of strong transformation. I think you're keeping a very level head with it, which is very difficult to do when you're going through kind of and again, death is metamorphosis. But so you're doing really well, but it's definitely green light go, you know, with this energy. So it's occurring kind of fast for you. The other thing is you're real excited about it. I feel an excitement, like you're ready to change. You're ready to do something different. You're ready to get away from the moon. Now, in the future, you definitely got a little bit of energy here going, guys. I'm not giggling because it's funny, but you got the 5 of Wands, you got the 9 of Cups, and you got the Knight of Swords. I definitely think, and again, these are very energetic cards. You know, the Knight of Swords is the fastest moving knight, and you see he's charging in, right? He's charging in. So, and the fact that I see the 9 of Cups in between these two, I have a feeling that you are ready to make a decision, right? You are making some big life changes right now. And after you make the decision, and that's happening right now, and you're doing it in a very practical, real world way, when you make the decision, when you make that choice, and you say, okay, I'm gonna do it, you're gonna do it. There's gonna be no stopping you. Now, the thing is, I do think that some of these decisions, especially with the moon in the past, some of this changes might upset, it might upset the apple cart for a few people around you. Because I'm definitely seeing, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing the 5 of Wands, which definitely is, it's conflict, but it's wands too, right? It's almost like you're charging in with your wand. And, you know, I do kind of giggle. I always think of knocking each other on the head because all of this energy is very even, right? Okay, sorry, my plant. This is Bob. Bob always wants to photobomb my readings, but you know, he's a good plant though. He's very nice. Anyway, sorry, tangent. But I have a feeling the fact, just looking at the look on the face of the dude, right? It is like, you know what I'm thinking? Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. You are going to charge in with that sword. I'm almost seeing the same sword here, you know, the same sword that you had boundaries with. You are going to be charging in. The other thing is, I do think that there's something about this change, this big change, that you need to communicate to someone. Again, if this involves people, if the situation involves a person, you know, you've got the Lovers in here too. So it might involve someone that you really want to be with. But even if it doesn't, it can also mean a choice. But the moment you make that choice, you're going to charge in. And I honestly get a feeling like I don't think you give a shit whether or not it upsets somebody. Not in a bad way. I mean, I'm not trying to giggle like that, but that's the nature of the wands, right? It's like, you know, he's the King of Wands. You've got the Ace of Wands. You've got the 5 of Wands. You've got a message. You've got communication. And what it's going to do is, this is the boon card. This is the, yeah, I got what I want. I got what I came here for, right? And remember, before, you know, you were kind of looking around for what you wanted, right? You were looking the other direction. And now you're looking straight at the camera like, okay, I finally found it. I found what I was looking for, right? But I do think that it might, again, when you do finally make these choices, I do think that there's probably conflict around you regarding this. It's also where you have to keep your boundaries up. So I don't know if that involves, you know, competition in a work setting, or if it's family, or, you know, I don't know if, I'm not seeing court cards that relate to people. So I don't think that you would be upsetting a specific person, but if anything, I almost feel like you'd kind of, I'm getting kind of a shocked vibe from this. Like someone didn't know, you know what I'm thinking? I didn't know you had it in you, is what I keep hearing. I didn't know you had it in you, but you definitely have it in you. You're the King of Wands, right? So, but definitely, you know, you do you. The beauty of the Ace of Wands is that's your idea, that's your passion, right? but I definitely wish you well. I mean, I don't think this conflict is going to be a real bad kind. I just think it's going to be fallout from whatever you have to deliver, but whatever fallout, you're willing to face it because it's going to give you that happiness. It's going to make you content, which is something that I feel like you've waited a long time to have. So, and you worked hard. All right, guys, so that's deck number 1. So let's go ahead and go into deck number 2. Again, I love these cards. And this is the Anna K Tarot. And again, it was very easy to pick the cards. It didn't take me long at all to like figure out. I kind of had them in my mind. You know, I was like, this is the one. This is the card that I need to use. So, all right. So, deck number 2. How does the Ace of Wands, wow, manifest in your life? Deck number 2. How does the Ace of Wands manifest in your life? Thank you. Ooh, that wanted to come out a minute ago. And there are no bad cards in tarot. We read them all together, so it's nothing to be worried about. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and read this under this. Okay. Wow, guys. Okay, so in the past, so definitely the Ace of Wands is really manifesting in an interesting way for you guys. In the past, you have the Knight of Pentacles. And what it is he is the slowest moving knight, but he is also the most prosperous. And what I see here is I definitely see someone, I'm getting not a leisurely vibe. I am getting a feeling that you are a hard worker. You're a hard worker. But I just get this feeling like in the past, I really get the feeling like in the past you would put your effort into something. You'd put your effort into something. And, you know, it really feels like maybe some kind of work endeavor or just something that you were very passionate about. You know, you really kind of put an authentic, you know, effort into something. And, you know, what happened, the other thing that I'm getting is that I'm feeling like you invested a lot of time. You invested a lot of time. You were kind of working slowly towards something. And, you know, the situation didn't pan out the way that you thought it was going to. I'm really kind of getting a vibe like you were waiting a really long time. Maybe you were waiting for a promotion, or maybe if it is relationship related, you were waiting for someone to get serious about your commitment, and you were being very patient. You were being very patient. And the other thing is you were being very honest. You were putting forth, you know, the pentacles are what you value, right? You were putting forth value. You were investing in whatever this situation was or is. And then in the middle or in the present, you got the 10 of Swords and you got the 8 of Pentacles. So what it is, and I do like the depiction of this 10 of Swords. It's always a sad card, but here you see, you know, the 10 swords are typically, you know, stabbed in the back. But here you see someone stood up, took the swords out and started walking away, right? And underneath it, you got the 8 of Pentacles, which you see an apprentice. You see a master artisan teaching someone new how to do something, right? So I really do kind of get a vibe that whatever the situation was, and again, remember in the intro we talked about how wands are also spirit. It's the spirit of you. I think, you know, and I know it's so trite, you know, whatever experiences, there are no such thing as bad experiences. If you get passed over for a promotion, or, you know, if you get your heart broken, you're supposed to take the good and leave the bad, blah, 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 right? You know, it's like, okay, you pull the 7, you know, the 10 swords out of your back and see how, wow, this is great, you feel, right? But the beauty that it is showing me is that I do think that you felt kind of passed over for something. I'm really getting this vibe, like you authentically put something forth and you didn't get what you expected back. You actually got less. You got not betrayed. I'm not getting a real betrayal, but I definitely just thought, you had a certain expectation. And the other thing about the Ten of Swords is that, anytime you hear the word disappointment, you always think, oh, that's something that you can shake off. But if you've ever had the feeling like 10 swords level of disappointment, and it is, you putting forth your best and not getting even close to that back, that really hurts. It really hurts. It feels like this. It feels like this blood, right? And, but this person was still alive enough to walk away. So, but I think what it's doing is it's saying that just like this apprentice here, he's, you've got someone who's teaching, someone who knows everything about how to do that, and then you have someone new who's learning it for the first time or trying to perfect it, right? He's going to have years of learning. So I think I really get a feeling as if this was kind of a little bit of a universal lesson, and not in a bad way, but I think it taught you a lot. It taught you about your boundaries, and I think after you got up, you were probably staggering and you were definitely bleeding, but after you got up and started walking, I'm sure that you started to feel, it's almost as if, and it's like this person's walking towards this girl, right? I think with every step you're getting stronger, and it did teach you a lot about yourself. But the other thing is it taught you about what you value, right? I think it also taught you about your value, because you have a lot to give, right? You have a lot to give. The other thing that I can think of is that when I see these kind of situations, have you ever seen those stories that, of people overcoming, that it's almost like a really catastrophic event in their life is what propelled them on to greatness, right? There's a lot of TV shows that talk about that. There's a great TV show that I like to watch called Mysteries at the Museum, and a lot of times there are stories that talk about how inventors, started off trying to create one thing and they ended up with something completely different. But if they were not, like for instance, the inventor of Silly String, which is a toy, right? They thought that they were creating a non-plaster cast. They wanted to find a spray can material to create a cast for setting bones. They were doctors, right? And yeah, who would have thought that Silly String came from that? The other thing is you hear a lot of stories about people who are really on the brink of hardship, like they have nothing to lose, right? That's the other meaning of the Ten of Swords, is that the meaning of the Ten of Swords is you have nowhere to go but up. It is a rock bottom card, but I think what it's doing is by you hitting rock bottom, you see how this person looks like they're, contemplating, right? When you are forced with really hard decisions or really hard situations, it forces you out of your comfort zone. And it propels you. It sometimes it gives you, and again, we talked about an idea about getting really excited about something. But definitely also watch one of those shows that talk about real life situations. Mysteries at the Museum is a good one, because you see someone who was down on their luck, and they like the person who invented Xerox. This was a person who would, the inventor was someone who had to hand copy things, and he started to develop crippling carpal tunnel in his hands. So it was affecting his livelihood, right? He couldn't do his job. But he decided to create a machine that would copy without humans having to do it, and he ended up inventing coolest machine ever that is the staple of how we, you know, mass produce things. That's the kind of energy that I'm getting here, guys. I really feel like this, and this really does kind of feel like an entrepreneurial thing. I think that you might have come close to having a hard low, and something about being on the rocks, you know, is going to propel you forward. Now, moving forward, the future of this is really, really amazing, guys. You have the Three of Cups. You have the Five of Wands, and you got the Four of Wands. Look how much Wands energy is in this, guys. And what I'm feeling is that I really get a feeling as if you're going to collaborate. Maybe, you know, the future looks really, really bright. I think that you're going to be collaborating with people. I think whatever this disappointment is, it's going to open you up to better opportunities in other places. And I really get this feeling there are people, there's lots of people in all three of these cards, right? The Three of Cups is really celebration. Now, the Five of Cups is competition, but here you can kind of see it looks like healthy competition, right? You see, it's almost playful, right? And it looks like there's family or friends around. And the Four of Wands definitely looks like, you know, people who are going on a journey together. So I have a feeling that in the future, you're going to have something to celebrate, you know, maybe if this was like a relationship thing, maybe you're spending more time with friends. The other thing is, whatever you're learning, I think that you're going to get around like-minded people. And there might be some healthy competition. Like, I'm really getting a feeling of like brainstorming. Like, you know, if you've ever tested an idea, like if you do come out with an invention and you start asking people, or you start brainstorming and saying, okay, is this a valid idea? Should I really do this? Is this a good job? Should I really do that? But I'm also getting a vibe like maybe if it is like a changing of a job or something like that, maybe you'll go out, if you didn't get this position, you try for another position, and you might have a little healthy competition, but you are going to end up victorious. But I definitely feel like there's goodwill. There's goodwill in all of this. I think you're going to be surrounded by like-minded people who are very supportive. I think, you know, there might be that the kind of discussion or the kind of challenge that makes you better. You know, maybe you do have to apply for the same job as someone else, and maybe you're more qualified or the other person's more qualified. But whatever it is, that challenge is going to test you in a good way. It's going to test you in a good way, and you're really going to have something to celebrate. I really think you're going to be surrounded by friends, people who really care about you. So definitely, guys, you know, also if this is any type of, you know, emotional, I'm not seeing a whole lot of cups, though I see cups here, but I do also think that if you are having any sad moments, you know, call a friend, because I do see you, there's so many people here who want to see you succeed. And that's really wonderful. And again, these are all Wands energy. This is all Wands, you know. It's a lot of energy moving forward, and it's a lot of happiness too. So I hope that helps, and I hope that resonates, guys. That looks really beautiful. I think again, you've learned a lot, and you've come a long way. You've come a long way. I think also that's the turning point where you're starting to see things really much brighter now. All right, so deck number 3, the Vice Versa Tarot, and you've got the piece of petrified wood. So let's go ahead and see, how does the Ace of Wands manifest in your life right now? So how does the Ace of Wands, deck 3? Thank you. right, guys? Yeah, we've got a lot of energy. Oh gosh. To start off, anytime the card flips, it is meant to be read as in the reverse. And I'll be honest, we can read the entire spread, but all of these are reversals. All of these are reversals. So what that tells me is that I am getting a sense of a lot of blocked energy. Now the Ace of Wands we didn't shuffle, so it didn't have the chance to come out in the reverse. But with all the cards that we pulled being, you know, the back side, I do think that this is blocked energy. I'm getting a feeling as if the Ace of Wands is what you want. The Ace of Wands is you're tired of, you're feeling, I'm getting stuck. I'm hearing a big vibe of Stucksville. And what you want is you want that crack of lightning. You want the lightning to come down so you can raise that rod and say, I'm out of here. I'm tired of this. I'm ready to move forward, right? Now, in the past, you got, and again, I don't want you to be scared. There's no bad cards, but you got the Devil in reverse. You got the Eight of Cups in reverse. And you got Strength in reverse. And I just want to show you the Strength card is really one of the most beautiful cards also. But now what I think is interesting is that I'm seeing a lot of gargoyle wings. I'm seeing a lot of gargoyle wings. So, you know, looking at the back of the Devil, you see that he has those real bat-like wings, right? And then on the back of Strength, you have a gargoyle that's looking at the woman. And this isn't a real dark deck either, you know, but I'm very drawn to the bat wings, the bat wings. And what I'm getting is with the Devil in the reverse and Strength in the reverse and the Eight of Cups, in the back, in the past, in the back, sorry guys, in the past you've had a lot of obligations. I'm getting a strong obligation. You know, the Devil in the reverse can either be leaving kind of an addictive situation or a restrictive situation, but in the reverse it can either mean that it's exaggerated. And with the Eight of Cups in reverse, the Eight of Cups is typically someone who's walking away from something they emotionally invested in. But in the reverse, it means that you're not walking away, right? And here you see a child that's looking at the cups, right? So, and then the Strength in reverse, you know, when it's upright, it means that you are keeping strong, you are taming your inner self. But in the reverse, it's almost as if you're succumbing to, you know, you're succumbing to fear. You're succumbing to fear. And I'm really getting a kind of an inner child sense. I feel like you want to walk away from something, but you see how all these cups are all dented and cracked? They look like they've been through the war, right? And this child is just wistfully staring at it, right? He's not even looking up, he's looking away. And there's a shooting star behind him, but he can't even see it, right? He can't even see it to wish on it. So I definitely get this feeling like I am getting a feeling kind of powerless vibe. I think you do feel like you're kind of stuck in something, you're obligated to something. It's almost, I'm kind of hearing, not deal with the Devil, but contract. You know, there's something that occurred in the past that's really holding you back. And normally you have a lot of strength, but you feel your strength waning. It's almost like you feel yourself giving in. You see how lethargic this poor child looks. He doesn't even look like he has any hope. The body language is just very, you know, shrugged shoulders and the crossed legs. It's just kind of like he's almost curling up into himself. And so I do get this feeling like it's almost as if you've given up hope on walking away from whatever is holding you down. And you're losing strength. You can't, you're just going to sit there with the dented up cups. I also think that I am getting kind of a vibe like I feel like you really had to grow up fast. Like, you almost didn't get a chance, and I know this is kind of deep, guys, I'm sorry, but this is what I'm getting from this. These are deep cards, but I feel like you didn't really get a chance to have a childhood. Like, you want to have hope that things will be joyous again. You want to have hope that things will be fun. And just the way that he can't even see that star, that shooting star, like he's not excited, he's not even looking at it. He's looking at the dented up cups. I really think that you've got some kind of deep work going on right now with either things that happened to you as a child or might be resurfacing. It could involve a child. Maybe you have an obligation to a child, or but I am definitely getting more of a feeling as if you feel like you're the child, right? You feel like you're the child, and you just feel like it's the same old paradigms, right? You can't get away, and you really want to get away, but you can't motivate to stand up and walk. It feels like a giving up, like the Strength card. You're giving up. The gargoyle's blocking your way, so you're not even going to bother, right? You're not going to try. The other thing is that bats or bat wings are transformation. The bats usually mean, or kind of, they're a little bit of an echo of the Death card, but I don't want this to be gloom and doom. I'm getting a strong energy from your past, and this is the past. Now, your present, which is actually kind of a good card, and believe me, there are no bad cards in tarot, but this is actually my favorite image in this entire deck. And what it is the Three of Swords, but this is the front of the card, right, which is that typical three swords piercing a heart, but you got the Three of Swords in reverse. And what's beautiful is, first of all, this is a chrysanthemum. And I forget the exact definition, I'll put it on the screen, but there's a really beautiful meaning. I think it even means transformation, or it means coming alive again, right? And you see the knight staring. He's in the rain, and he's staring at the shield, right? He's got a look, he's armored, right? He's shielded. I'm getting a real guarded vibe off this. And what's really striking me is that this knight almost looks like the grown version of that child, right? Just something in the facial expression, you know? He's not a king, but he's still, focus please. It's focusing on the background. Sorry guys. There we go. But you know, he knows the battle that he's gone through, right? So presently, and this is right under the ace, presently, I think you in the past, you felt really trapped and held down, and you felt like giving up. But the Three of Swords is that painful, you know, that painful image. But when the Three of Swords is in reverse, it means that you're getting over it, right? So I think you've grown up. I think you were that child who felt powerless, who felt like you had no childhood. And now as you're older, you're like, okay, I can't change the past, but I'm going to look squarely at what has happened, and I'm going to keep going, right? I feel you getting stronger. This feels like you are getting stronger. And definitely with the Ace of Wands right above it, you're not going to let sadness hold you back down anymore. I'm getting that strong vibe. You're not going to let it hold you back. You've already fought that battle. I'm getting a real strong vibe of, I've already been through enough. I'm sorry, but you know, I've kind of cursed a little bit in this video, but he's looking at it like, okay, I'm really tired of this shit. I'm going to finish staring at this shield, and then I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to get the heck out of the rain, is kind of the vibe I'm getting, because the expression, you know, and it's such a small card, but the expression is so powerful. You can just feel what this knight has gone through, right? Now, moving forward, and again, all of these are in reverse, you got the Six of Wands, and you got the Four of Wands. Now, typically, the Six of Wands and the Four of Wands, and these are all wands. Again, it's more of that wands energy. Usually it means victory and, you know, achieving what you want to achieve. Now, here we've got it in reverse. We've got it in reverse, which means that these events have not occurred. These events have not occurred yet, but what I'm seeing is I'm almost getting that, again, this looks like a progression. It looks like you started out as the child and then moved into the young adult and then became the emperor. Guys, look at that. You became the victor, right? You went from powerless to first battle to winning the war, right? Ooh, oh, sorry guys. But so I think what's happening is right now you know what you need to do. You haven't gotten this future yet. The other thing that I'm kind of getting is that I really do kind of get the feeling as if you know that this is gonna be a tough haul. And again, right now you're starting. You're not lethargic the way that you were before. You're starting to get energy. You know your direction now. Again, that lightning strike, right? It's almost as if that lightning struck and then it started raining. And then you said, okay, I know what I need to do. And moving forward, I think you do know that this is going to be a little bit of not a bloody battle, but it's not going to be an easy fight. And it's almost like you're looking forward to that victory. You're looking forward. I think you're looking forward to peace. You're looking forward, you know, it's like you're looking at it from behind, right? You want to step up into that canopy. You want to step up into the sunlight, but you know that it's almost like you have to win the war before you can do that. And this is the future that you're looking forward to. And you're getting jazzed, you're getting energized. We talked about that. You're getting stoked to make this happen. I almost get the vibe like have you ever had it where you've been laying down and you're like, I know I gotta get up, I know I gotta get up. And then when you finally get up and you get that second wind, that's what this feels like to me, guys. That lightning bolt hit and you were like, okay, I am tired of being in the rain. I'm gonna get the heck out of the rain. And I do think that you're seeing this future in a very realistic way, but maybe in a little bit of a battle kind of. I'm definitely feeling like you're feeling like you're gonna have to fight to get this victory, but you're ready to do it. And the only other thing that I think is that, you know, on the surface, the other thing is with the surface, the front of the Six of Wands looks all glorious, but when you look at it from the back side, it's like you can see exactly what went into that victory, right? And it's not all pretty. It's not all, you know, gold and glory, right? But he is victorious, though. So I do think that you know that you'll be victorious, but it's going to be, you know, it's going to cost a little bit, but the other thing is I'm getting a confidence here. And again, you see how they're all holding those wands up. I'm seeing a confidence like, all right, let's do this, you know, because you want your Four of Wands, you want your happily ever after. Now, the last card that we got is we got the Four of Pentacles, and you got it in reverse. So I think here, again, this is a man looking out on towers. He's looking out on his empire, right? I think the other thing that I'm getting and the other thing is at the top of this card, you have all four elements, right? You have the symbols of all four elements, you know? And here, with this, I think you're determined. I'm getting a very determined vibe. I'm getting like a nothing's gonna stop you vibe with this. I think you're gonna keep going because this also came out at the end of this. It's almost like, you know, after the victory, you know, and again, you're seeing it all from behind, right? You're gonna go through every step until you are the man sitting in the chair, right? And I'm getting such a determination. I'm getting a real strong sense of determination. but I sincerely hope that this helps. I do see a very bright future because, again, you know, the Six of Wands and Four of Wands, even when they're in the reverse, they're very positive. But all I can say is that I do feel like you've been through a lot. I think a lot of it has been emotional or psychological, and I do just caution that, you know, definitely move forth, you utilize this energy, you know, charge forth, but be kind to yourself too. You know, I feel like it's almost like you're taking stages, and again, I'm seeing a lot of battle cards. So, you know, be kind to yourself. And I do get a strong sense that you would wield the wand with honor. That's the other thing that I get, is that I'm getting an honorable card. I don't think that you would do anything underhanded, or, you know, but I do think that you do need to care for yourself too. That's the only thing that's also coming through. But all right, guys, well, I hope that was helpful, and I definitely enjoyed that read. That was very powerful. So, but I hope that this resonates. Of course, you know, we always say take what resonates and leave the rest. So if you were drawn to more than one pile, or, you know, maybe if there's a video from another week, again, to reiterate, you know, I'm doing other videos about environment this week, but, you know, please stay tuned. My channel is about the card reading. That is my primary content. Anything else that you see, you don't have to click on if you don't want to. I hope that you'll join me on Saturday. We're going to go ahead and do our weekly energy card reading, and we'll see, you know, what kind of energies we're looking for or looking at for the next 7 days. And I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you then. Bye.